Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be reading 5 mystery thrillers. I'm super excited about it. It's been a while since I've read anything on my channel that wasn't romance. It's just high time for me to dip my toes back into mystery thrillers. This is the genre I would say that I pick up like second most after romance. It's kind of like a tie, I would say, between like mystery thrillers and fantasy novels, but usually, at least these days, I've been more drawn to mystery thrillers. And I have 5 here in front of me that I've been like collecting over the past year or so, all from Book of the Month. And I figured this could be a fun little, not experiment, but a fun little vlog where I read 5 mystery thrillers from Book of the Month and let you know, if they have good selections. I would say typically the selections that I have gotten in the past from Book of the Month, I've been impressed with their mystery thrillers, but we can see that for ourselves today. So I have 5 books in front of me and I don't know much about any of them. I don't really care to know much about any of them. Briefly run you through what we're going to be reading. First up, The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. I actually just started this one today. I'm only like 2 pages into the prologue, but this is one that I'm really looking forward to, and it's probably the first one that I'm going to be reading. This one I believe is about like survivors of some sort of like casualty event coming together every year on the anniversary of this like mass casualty event. I want to say it was like a bus tips over or something like that. 2 vans filled with high school students crash into a Tennessee ravine. Even worse. Excited to read this one. Also very excited, probably equally excited to pick up None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I don't know what this book's about, but I know that I like Lisa Jewell, and the early reviews for this book are phenomenal, so I really think I'm gonna have a good time with it. I also have The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. I like how I say I'm excited for all of these. These first 3 I like know a little bit about. The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. I really enjoyed The Push by this author, and I don't know if this one's about motherhood. Actually, it is. Excited to give this one a try. I feel like Ashley Audrain does a really good job at writing these sort of like literary mystery thrillers. I don't even know if we'd call it a thriller, but definitely like literary mysteries. They're always a little spooky and get you to think, and I like that. That's my kind of mystery thriller, so excited about this one. What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I have no idea what this one is about. Oh, this one's also going to be good. I don't want to tell you what it's about until we get into it, but excited about this one. I don't know anything about this author or her novels. I don't know if this is her first novel. It seems, yeah, this is her adult thriller debut. We'll see how this one goes. I'm excited about it. I don't know if the reviews for this are good. I haven't looked into it yet. She started it. This one, what is it about all of these? It's like friendship groups, some like betraying each other. I don't know. It sounds fun. This is like a mystery set on like an island or something like that. Like they're going to a Caribbean island for a vacation. You know what? This is just what I need. And I'm starting this vlog early enough to where I'm not going to get burnt out on them, which I'm really excited about. Like, love mystery thrillers, but I feel like besides romance, there aren't really any genres that I don't get burnt out on. So I'm gonna like splice some romances in between these and just update you as I go. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Let's get into the vlog portion of this video. All right, I am 75 pages into The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda, and I thought we could talk about it. I think I'm liking this book. It is extremely unsettling though. I don't know what I expected going into this, but I didn't expect the tone of the story. It's just been a while since I've read mystery thrillers, but this book is about our narrator, our main character. I believe her name is Cassidy. Many years ago when she was in high school, she was going on a trip to Tennessee to do some like disaster relief for Habitat for Humanity with a bunch of classmates. There were 2 different vans. They end up crashing into a ravine or a river, and only 8 or 9 of the students end up making it out. I think it's 9 students. Things are a little bit more complicated than the students who survive, I guess, let on. They don't really tell anyone what happened except for this is just like a tragic accident and like there's nothing we could have done, but there's more to it than that. All of these kids meet every summer at this house in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. I guess hang out for a week every year to like not remember necessarily what happened, but kind of in their own way. It's been many years since this happened. I don't know if it's been 10 years. Yes, yeah, a decade ago. We have our, I was gonna say heroine. We have Cassidy, and she just like doesn't necessarily want to go this year. She's like blocked everyone's numbers. She has deleted everyone's emails, and she's like, you know what? I think I'm just sick of this song and dance and like trying to remember this time. Like I don't want to do that anymore. And so she decides she's not gonna go until she is texted an obituary for one of the people that she goes on this like vacation every year with. His name's Ian. He's one of the 9 people who survived. One person already passed away, and then Ian passed away, and there's only 7 of them left, and they're gonna meet up. And Cassidy was like, I don't think I want to do it this year. Like I'm going to block everyone's numbers. But then she gets that text from someone that she didn't remember their number, and she's like, I'm really sad. I think I'm actually gonna go on this trip. So she ends up going to the Outer Banks. Tricky stuff happens. One of the people who comes on the trip ends up leaving the same day, and we don't know if there's like foul play afoot. No one else suspects anything's wrong, but Cassidy's kind of like, what the fuck? She finds a phone on the beach, might have something to do with Amaya. Person who's disappeared, her whereabouts. So it's already very twisty. It's not like the most complex thing ever necessarily, but I'm curious to see where this story leads, and again, I really think that this has a very chilling tone to it. Like, it's set at a beach, but it's definitely not sunshiny. I thought that there might be like some sort of contrast there with like, you know, the sunshiny beach setting and like gruesome things that happen, but no, like the beach setting, very ominous, and it's so interesting to me that these people would be meeting up year after year when they seem to not really like each other very much. They like share moments, like I can tell that they have a history with each other, but it's not like anyone's really having a great time. So yeah, it's a weird one so far. Really, again, totally not what I was expecting, but I'm not mad at it. I don't know if I'll update you again before I finish this book. I kind of forgot how hard it is to talk about thrillers without spoiling things, but I am going to do my damnedest not to do that. I'm gonna continue reading, and if anything happens before the end of the book, like I'll keep you posted. I mean, I'm sure things will happen, but if there's anything that I can say without spoiling, I'll pop in. So I finished The Only Survivors like 20-30 minutes ago. I genuinely really enjoyed this. I think the average rating for this on Goodreads is like a 3.58, so it was definitely not like beloved by everyone. I thought this was really excellent and like very well done. It's not gonna be a new like favorite mystery thriller of all time or anything, but it doesn't need to be. This was compelling from start to finish. I felt like I was on the edge of my seat, and while the reveals weren't anything completely mind-blowing or groundbreaking, I feel like I wasn't cheated, right? It wasn't like there were a ton of red herrings. I didn't feel like I was completely misled. This was fun up until the very end. God, I don't even know what to really say about this without spoiling it, but the book is really interesting in that it is told from both a then and now perspective, and I like that all of the present day chapters are told from the point of view of Cassidy, our protagonist, our main character, but a lot of the then chapters are told from points of view of other people. I thought that was a really nice and interesting way to tell the story, because you get everybody's different perspectives. You don't know who's a reliable narrator, and if the things that are taking place back then, this person's reimaginings of what happened, or if this is actually how things went down. I loved, again, this like spooky setting. In some ways, it kind of reminded me of the one episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty where they're like stuck. They're staying in this like seedy little motel for a night. It kind of gives me those same vibes. Like, these people are stuck in this house. It's called The Shallows, I believe. It's never rented out ever. I think like one of the guys in their friend group owns it. It's just this like creepy place to go, and then there's these ominous notes, and it's just a really good time. It's genuinely very fun, and it's interesting seeing how many people are like culpable for the things that went down back in the day. I liked it. It was cool too seeing there be not only like a present and a past timeline from a points of view perspective, but also from the like crime perspective. Like, there's obviously something at play in the present day, not just, oh, we did bad things, we're trying to cover them up. It's like there are things happening in the present that we're trying to solve, but there's also the question of like what actually happened back then that's trying to be solved, and I liked that. I thought it was fun. I wouldn't say this is a very fast-paced thriller. It's kind of glacial at points, and I think that if you don't stick with it, also won't be disappointed. I don't know. I think this is going to appeal to a certain kind of reader. I think it feels more like a mystery than a thriller in some ways, because again, it's not like a fast-paced, edge-of-your-seat kind of thing, but I feel like it was rewarding if you are wanting to know what happens next. I don't know. I liked this. I thought this was fun. This is my kind of book. It's interesting that the overall average for this book is pretty low, because all of my friends' ratings on Goodreads for this book are pretty high, so I feel like this is one to give a try. Could be wrong, but I think a lot of y'all are like me in that you have probably quite a few book of the month books just kind of like laying around. Pick books with the best intentions of reading them, and then we don't pick them up. If this is one of the books that you have laying around, I actually think it's worth giving a try, so I'm glad I read this. This is good. 4 stars. We're off to a good start, which is fun. I feel like it's been, again, a while since I've done one of these videos, like an I Read 5, especially, you know, reading mystery thrillers, and it's good to know that I can still enjoy them. The next book that I'm going to pick up, none of this is true, by Lisa Jewell. I was really trying to decide what to pick up next based on this book, because as nice as this one was, it honestly kind of got me in a weird mood. This is a very atmospheric thriller, and I need something just a little bit different, a little bit less my friends are gonna betray me, you know what I mean? Like, I just need, the vibes need to be different, and this one is different. It's about, I believe, 2 different women who like come across each other on their own birthdays. Like, they're both at a bar and they're like, oh my god, wait, you're turning 45 today? I'm turning 45 today. One of the women has like interesting past, and I think one of the women has a podcast, and the woman on the podcast is like, hey, you have an interesting past, come on my podcast. I think things kind of take a turn. I don't want to know anything else. I don't know if that's like an entirely accurate description. That's kind of what I picked up on the inside flap, but this is what I'm going to be starting tonight. I don't anticipate I'll finish it tonight, but I want to get at least like 50 to 100 pages in before I go and watch Wheel of Time with Hayden, so check back with you in a little bit. About to pick up this book as if we hadn't already talked about it. I'm 60 pages into None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and so far, so good. I'm on a roll, honestly. Like, I'm very much thriving in this mystery thriller era that I'm in. Is this gonna be my new identity? I don't know. This book's about our 2 main characters, Josie and Alex. They end up meeting in a bathroom at a fancy restaurant. Alex is celebrating her 45th birthday with a bunch of friends. She has a very lively life, obviously. And then we have Josie, who is having dinner with her husband, also celebrating her 45th birthday. At the beginning of the book, you can tell that Josie's life is not quite as nice as Alex's, but you don't think that anything really bad like has happened to her until after the dinner is over. Like, they meet in this bathroom, and I guess Josie realizes that Alex is her birthday twin. Like, they were born at the same time, in the same hospital, on the same day, 45 years ago, which is absolutely wild. But Alex is like, oh, that's cool, and just kind of, passes it off as is, if it's not a big deal, which it isn't really. But Josie thinks this means something bigger. So she researches Alex. She finds out that Alex has a podcast where she interviews very successful women about how they got to where they are. And this is very inspiring for Josie, who has been married since she was very, very young, had kids when she was in her early 20s, and is just now trying to figure out what she wants out of life. And at first, on the surface level, like, nothing insidious feels like it's going on, until she ends up like trying to not stalk Alex, but to let Alex know that she wants to be interviewed for the podcast. And Alex at first is like, why the fuck would I interview you? Like, no offense, but you're not a successful woman. And Josie's like, yes, I know, but I'm going to be changing my life soon, and I would love to have that documented on your podcast. And Alex is already kind of like, she's apprehensive at first, but she's like, you know what, I am bored by my podcast. I feel like this is the same formula over and over. I'm interviewing these women who are successful. Wouldn't it be cool if I interviewed someone who wasn't? Let's try this, let's do it. And so she does a sample interview with Josie, and she finds out very quickly, and this is, I don't think, a spoiler, because again, it's like very early on in the book. She finds out that I keep wanting to say heroine. She finds out that Josie has been in a relationship with a much, much, much older man. The man she's married to is much, much older than her. She starts finding out the details of that in this first interview, and she is very much enthralled from the beginning. And she's like, you know what? I was unsure about you from the beginning. I didn't know if this is the direction I wanted to take my podcast. It's gonna be like a spin-off podcast from her regular one, but I have to do this now because I'm just so curious to know where your life has gone as a result of like being with a much, much older man. We also know Josie has a couple of children that are older, like in their 20s. Some stuff is going on there. We don't really know what yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. I like this. You do get some like excerpts, I guess, from the Netflix series. It's like a Netflix documentary about the making of the podcast, kind of like interspersed between the like dual POVs of both Alex and Josie, and it's just fun. It's a good book to read. Who the fuck am I? Have I never done this before? Okay. It is an enjoyable book, and I understand why other people have been rating this one highly. It's so compelling, and here's the thing. I enjoyed this, but I kind of feel like this was my getting back on the horse. Oh my god, I like mystery thrillers. This is like probably genuinely a very good book. I'm not saying this is terrible. Like, I genuinely think this is a good book, but this shit's like top tier. I'm engaged, all right? I'm engaged. I have to know what happens next, and I probably will stay up reading this book after I take my shower. So it's a good night. I'll check in with you tomorrow on my thoughts on this book. Oh my god, I finished None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I didn't update you earlier because I honestly didn't know what to say about this book without spoiling it. I feel like I need to go and like marathon some Books and Lala videos because I just don't know how to review thrillers or like talk about them without spoiling them. I think I can kind of sum up my thoughts and feelings on this one. I could be wrong. I think this is going to be my favorite book in this video. It's definitely a 5-star read for me. This is so sick and fucking twisted. The book continues on in the format again of like dual POVs between Josie and Alex, and you also again have those like Netflix things spliced in as well. The Netflix things definitely get ramped up as the story kind of continues on, and it is really compelling seeing how different what you're being told in the Netflix special is compared to what we're being told in the book itself. I really liked that sort of like juxtaposition. I also liked that it sort of filled in some of the gaps for us without things having to like play out. I was gonna say play out on page, but like yeah, they didn't have to play out in the linear timeline. We could see them on screen. It was a fun way to read it and consume it, and I also think it made for an interesting sort of premise. I also like cannot talk enough or say enough good things about the ending of this book. It is bonkers. It is off the fucking wall. It makes sense. Like, it definitely is fitting of this kind of story. I was like flipping through the pages, just feeling kind of like sick to my stomach as I was reading, and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? And then the end hits, and you're just like, my fucking god. I feel like from the title of this book, you can tell that this book is sort of an unreliable narrator situation, but you also don't know how unreliable. The ending of the book definitely is like, oh fuck, is that really how things went down? You kind of like start questioning yourself and questioning if you are understanding things. This was so fucking good. good. I've read other Lisa Joel books before. I've read Then She Was Gone, which I enjoyed, and The Family Upstairs, which I didn't enjoy as much. So I like went in expecting to enjoy this, especially with all of those like early reviews giving this book like 5 stars. But I just wasn't sure how much I would enjoy it. God damn, this is my kind of thriller, like in every fucking possible way. It's one that really gets you to think about things as well. I like thrillers that have a little bit more depth to them beyond just the cheap tricks and thrills and red herrings and stuff. I'm not saying that like thrillers aren't compelling on their own, but there is just that added oomph when you have to kind of sit and think about the morality of certain situations and like question your own belief system. I think that's so fun. I feel like I get that a lot of the time in Gillian Flynn books, but I feel like I haven't been able to replicate that or find that in very many other places. I did feel like I found that in Then She Was Gone. I feel like I found that again in None of This Is True, and it's one of those books that I would love to reread because I feel like there's more things to uncover yourself and to like look out for as you read. This was good. This was fucking good. And I feel like if I were to recommend, again, just like one book from this video, it'd probably be this one. I say that as if I'm not going to like read more books. Who knows? Like I could find like an absolute fucking banger. So far, I think this is it. I think this is the fucking banger. This is so good. Okay. I have no idea what I'm gonna read next. I really have no idea, but I do want to read another book today. It's Labor Day, and so I'm free as a fucking bird, and it's only 4:30, so I have all the time in the world to read something juicy and zesty and fun. I think too, this was like a good palate cleanser for me because I was specifically like, okay, I don't want to read something about like a friend group, and I feel like all the other ones are about friend groups. I think now I'm okay to do that, so maybe I'll read Black and Pink. That one sounds fun. I think it's like set on an island. It feels fitting. No. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not good. I feel bad saying that, but I'm not loving it. What to fucking say? I'm like 70 pages in. This book's about a group of 4 friends who get invited by this person that they used to bully to I don't want to say deserted island, but to this private island in the Bahamas. And they're all gonna hang out, and they're also invited to be this girl. Her name is Poppy, the one that invited them. They've been invited to be bridesmaids in Poppy's wedding as well. So it's gonna be hen do, as the Brits say, a bachelorette party, which makes more sense in my humble opinion, but basically bachelorette party on this Bahamian island, and they're gonna have some fun, except for it's not fun. All of these girls are bitchy and not in a way that's fun. There's also some homophobia sprinkled in, which also not super fun. What is this book? I was intrigued by the premise because I was like, okay, we've got these 4 women, it's gonna be twisty and turny, and then they're gonna be like, not blackmailed, but like Poppy's gonna get her revenge, right? And she definitely is, like she's attempting to do that. She's made some bitchy quips. She has like done some things as like payback in like subtle ways, which sure, like I expected that. What I didn't expect was all 4 of the friends to not actually really be friends. Like they haven't done the best job at keeping up with each other. 3 of them excluded one of the friends from a trip at one point. None of them think very highly of each other. And like that could be intriguing, but the way that it's done is not compelling. It's like not fun to read. I'm not living, laughing, and loving. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm like, where's the mystery here? I mean, it's probably not much of a mystery. It's literally probably just a thriller where we've got Poppy and she's gonna try to like kill some people. Maybe? I don't know. Like, am I reading? Definitely not reading too much into it. It's a fucking thriller, of course. This is feeling a little DNF-y to me. And I say that because I've been doing like reading sprints with myself. I've been setting a timer for like 20 minutes and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read, I'm gonna have some fun. And then by the end of the 20 minutes, I am genuinely about to fall asleep. So like, I'm not loving it. I feel like I want to see the Goodreads reviews for this. Also, maybe I'll read until this, like, I see like a diary portion of this book. Like maybe I'll read until that and see if this is like redeemable for me or if this is just like a blah book. I think because the first 2 were so impressive, I'm just sort of like, yawn about this one. Like it's not terrible, but I just like, I'm not loving it. And we have other books with similar premises coming up. I picked this one though because I was like, oh, island. So it's just an island, you know what I mean? Like I'd rather be on the island than reading this book about people being bitchy on an island. Hello from the HEB parking lot. I mean, what could be more Texan than this, truly? All right, let's talk about thrillers, shall we? I have lots of thoughts. I have been reading, I have been DNFing, I have been reconsidering my life a little bit. So I ended up DNFing, she started it. I just couldn't get past the unlikable, bitchy characters who were perpetually picking on each other. I know that that's kind of the point of the book, but they were sort of indistinguishable from one another, and it just made for an unpleasant experience. I read a lot of Goodreads reviews after DNFing this book. A lot of people had the same thoughts and feelings as me, and most of my Goodreads friends didn't give this book a super high rating, so I felt fine DNFing it, and I'm having a good time with the book that I'm currently reading, so I'm not mad at it. That I picked up, and after a couple of chapters decided to DNF. I don't know if I'm DNFing this one so much as like putting it aside for now. It just felt too similar to all the stuff I've been reading lately. Is What Lies in the Dark. Woods? What Lies in the Woods. Why do all thrillers have the same fucking names? Can someone please explain it to me? What Lies in the Woods. Decided that I didn't want to read this one. I can't honestly even
remember, now that I'm thinking about it. I DNF'd this book yesterday. I can't even remember what the premise of this book is. I think, oh wait, yes I do. 3 girls go into the woods, 2 girls come back out. The one that's left behind is not dead. She just has a slash in her face. They end up putting away a guy for murder or something like that. Like, he killed a bunch of people and they put him away, but like, were they telling the truth? That's like the premise of the book. And the writing was just a little bit, say verbose, but it was just a little too descriptive for me at the time. I don't know. I just like wasn't feeling it. I wasn't vibing with it. And you know what I'm doing lately is I'm following the vibes and I'm following what I actually like to read, or like what I'm actually compelled by, and I think that that is probably the right move. So just decided, you know what, I'm gonna set these books aside. I'm not gonna let this get to me. I'm not going to let this derail my incredible, amazing, stunning mystery thriller vlog, right? Like, we had a 4-star and we had a 5-star. Why not continue on with those good vibes? So I decided to pick up a book from Hoopla. I like wanted an audiobook. I wanted something that sounded good and that had decent Goodreads reviews. So I picked up A Flicker in the Dark by Stacy somebody. I'm trying to pull up Goodreads, but I have no service here, so I can't. But this is what the book looks like. It's about our main character Chloe, and Chloe is in her 30s and she's just living her life. She's just vibing. She is a therapist and she really finds a lot of fulfillment in her job, until one day the people around her start showing up dead slash missing. Like, young girls in her town go missing, and this is bringing back bad vibes and bad memories for her girl Chloe. So her father's actually incarcerated for murdering a bunch of young women, 6 young women to be specific. Some of these women, or not even women, sorry, girls, some of these girls Chloe knew back in the day. Not all of them, but some of them. And there were no bodies found. There was no like true evidence of the crime, except for the fact that her father had a box of like trinkets and I guess trophies from his victims, like jewelry specifically, like a belly ring from one of the girls. Chloe is aware that this box of trinkets is the girl's trinkets because one of the girls that was murdered that she knows, or she is missing, I don't know, the girl's, it's her belly ring, and our heroine, our main character, knows that. So she ends up giving the box to the police. The police arrest her father. Her father's now in jail for life for supposedly murdering all of these women. I keep saying women. They're not women. They're girls. They're literally girls. Yeah. So Chloe's kind of in a bit of a tricky situation because, you know, these people are showing up dead around her. Her dad's in prison, and it's like, is this a copycat killer? Is this the actual killer the entire time? Like, are they just like killing in a different area now? Like, what's going on? It's compelling. I like the way that the book is told. It's not necessarily the most inventive or mind-blowing plot, but I think that a good thriller doesn't have to have this like off-the-wall premise to be really good. I think if it's well told, I am invested in the characters, and if the twists are good, I'm down. I haven't really experienced a lot of twistiness yet, but I am compelled. There's also, of course, someone who is trying to kind of follow up on the murder of those girls so many years ago, like trying to contact Chloe and contact members of Chloe's family to like talk about the dad and like talk about what happened many years ago, like relive that experience, I guess. And she's like, I don't fucking want to do this, but she's having to look out for the other members of her family as well. She has a boyfriend who like may or may not be involved. We definitely don't think that he has any involvement, but like we're not for sure. So far it's good. So far I'm having a great time. The audiobook is particularly great. I think the overall rating on Goodreads is like a 4 point something, so great times to be had by all. I have like 2 audiobook hours left, so like I don't actually know what the actual length of the audiobook is, but I only have 2 hours left to listen, and then I can start in on The Whispers by Ashley Audrain, and I am excited about that one. I think this was the right move, and I don't think I've ever course corrected quite like this in a video before, and I'm feeling good about it. I'm not saying I've never DNF'd, but normally I don't like DNF 2 books or like decide to read a different book. But you know what? New year, new me. I'm thriving. I'll be back.
Alright, so I have come across a book that I don't know how to rate. Flicker in the Dark I have such mixed feelings about because the actual reading experience was genuinely very fun. I don't know that I liked the twists at the end and or the reveal, the whodunit, the solving of whether or not this is a copycat murder or if the murderer was ever captured in the first place. I think like that's immediately where my mind went when I was reading this book, like, oh, maybe this isn't a copycat, maybe this is like actually, you know, the person didn't actually, especially when there's like no body is found, and like I don't know how I feel about this one. I feel like I don't often have this issue with thrillers. I feel like often it's the other way around, right? Like I'm reading a book and it's just not really like holding my interest, but the ending is really, really cool, and so I'm like, fuck, how do I read this? This book is like the complete opposite of that. It's like the way the book was told, but I was kind of like meh on the ending. Here's the thing, I don't think it was bad. I do think it was quite obvious. So I think your enjoyment of this is going to be dependent on like how you consume the book, when you read the book. It's this author's debut, so I will say I'm curious to read more from her in the future. I actually have read another book by her, but I cannot remember it. The life of me. Like, I can't remember if it was a 2-star read or if it was a 5-star read. Like, I don't remember. I think I enjoyed it, and I think she has another book coming out in 2024, so like I'm glad that I read this because it definitely makes me want to read more from her in the future, but like I just don't know how I feel about this one. I want you to pick it up. I think it is a good audiobook listening experience. Like, if you can check it out from your library, I think it's a fun one, but I don't think this is going to like blow your mind as like the most original thing ever. It's more the way that it makes you feel, right? It's like kind of haunting, kind of chilling, and characters kind of going through some stuff. She has some substance abuse issues. Like, definitely has a grittier feel, kind of a Karen Slaughter, Gillian Flynn sort of vibe in that regard. May or may not work for you. Your mileage will definitely vary, but moved on to the last book for this video, The Whispers by Ashley Audrain. I'm only 58 pages in, but I'm having such a good time with it, and I wanted to just kind of let you know how I'm feeling, keep you abreast of my feelings as I read. I'm gonna try to like vlog more closely with this one, I think, because this is probably, I would say, my most anticipated of all of the books. I was also excited about the Lisa Jewell book, but this is the one that I was most excited about, and it's living up to the hype. So, the book is about a whole host of women living in this same neighborhood. At the beginning of the story, I don't even know if we'd call her main character, because I don't even know, oh shit, does she even get her? No, she does get her own chapters. Okay. Whitney is the center of the story. She is this like successful, beautiful career woman and mom. I think she has 2 3-year-old twins, and then she has a 10-year-old son named Xavier, right? And she invites people over. I think it's for the twins' birthday or something like that. And so we've got the peanuts over here, but we've got Rebecca, who is a doctor who does not have any children of her own. She's childless, she's married, and she comes to this like party. We also have Blair, who has a child who I believe is the same age as the 10-year-old or whatever. Yeah, because they walk to school together every day. She is someone who doesn't really like her life. She wishes that she had gone back to work after having her child, but she's also unsure if she actually would have liked that. She just doesn't like her life situation. She's wondering if her husband's cheating on her, even though nothing would really lead her to believe that that's actually the case. She's just kind of like reading too much into situations and or making stuff up, kind of. And then we have Mara. I had to look up the name of the woman who is in her 80s and is living in this gentrified neighborhood all of these other women in their 40s are living in. It's interesting, the perspectives of each of the characters, and like the main premise of this book, I should say, is that Whitney's son is now in the ICU. We don't know what happened to him, but the dust jacket says that this boy fell out of his window in the middle of the night, and I think the question is whether or not Whitney had something to do with it, because Whitney is seen yelling at her son during this birthday celebration everybody is at. Again, I don't think it's his birthday, I think it's the twins' birthday, but regardless, like, he's there, it's his parents' house, and he gets yelled at by his mom for like eating cookies he's not supposed to. It's interesting seeing the perspectives of all of these different women and like the way that their lives have gone. I'm just curious to see how they all kind of like weave together and how that helps tell the story. I don't know if this is kind of like a whodunit, like if Whitney is culpable in this act or if it's really just going to be about the experiences of all of these women, but it's already sort of like an interesting atmosphere being built and I really enjoy it. I didn't expect this to be super twisty. The push like was chilling for sure, but it was more about sort of like raw emotions and thoughts and experiences, I guess, of motherhood rather than, oh, you know, is this woman's child actually insane and like trying to kill her sibling, right? Like it's a different thing altogether. So it's good. It's good. I'm very compelled, and I would say this is the one that's like the easiest to read of all of them for me, just because I am so interested in it. I don't know if this is like for everyone, but it definitely is for me. This one explores envy, women's friendships, desire, and the intuitions that we silence, the whispers. Blair says that she has these like whispers in her head about like what if, and like, you know, what if her husband's cheating on her, that sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm having a good time. I am having a good time. Maybe I'm a mystery thriller girl at heart. I say that as if this is a mystery thriller. It's adjacent. I mean, it says contemporary fiction on the back, but it's haunting enough, right, to be considered that? I don't know. What is not haunting and is in fact just super cute are these two. Okay, I am 50% into this book, and I don't know why I'm smiling. This is not like upbeat, but holy fuck if this isn't exactly like what I needed right now. And it's weird to say that because there's a lot of hard-hitting fucking topics in this book. There is discussion of pregnancy loss, a lot of discussion of pregnancy loss, so do not pick this book up if that is something that is triggering to you or you don't want to read about. Also, just again, like the difficulties of parenthood, just the way that Ashley Audrain writes so unflinchingly about things that are challenging really gets me me. I feel like this is just such a validating book for me. I think if you're a woman who wants to, or a person in general who wants to be a parent, I think her books are, I wouldn't say illuminating. It's not like these are like new ideas or things that I've not thought of before, but it's just interesting seeing how these like different archetypes, I guess, handle parenthood, and how there really isn't one right way to be a parent, and that like everybody technically fails in some way or another. Is that validating? Is that sad? I don't know. It just is what it is. I posted this on my Instagram story, and ouchie, you know what? I could literally just pull up my Instagram. There was a quote that really got me. If this is the first video of mine you're watching, I don't know what you're doing, but I am dealing with infertility presently. I'm about to start IVF. So somewhere between those beginnings and now, Rebecca traded her disinterest in motherhood for an obsession she can't articulate. She was weary until she wasn't. She didn't want a baby until it became the only thing that she needed. And yet most of the time she's angry at herself for being hostage to the longing. Desperation feels like her greatest weakness. She can't find the discipline to escape it, despite how tightly she can focus every other part of herself, every other thought she has. That was maybe not what I needed to read today, but it was also like deeply validating as someone who knows literally no one else in my life who wants children. I don't know. I feel like this is not like the right book to be reading for this video, because it's like, are we really moving towards a point? Does it matter like why this little boy was, you know, I don't want to say thrown out of a window, why he fell out of a window? Like, was he pushed? Did he do it himself? Like, who knows? Does it really matter? Probably not. Is that the point of this book? Definitely not. But I am glad that I'm reading this. And so we're reading it, you know? I finished this book tonight, and I'm going to update you tomorrow morning on my final thoughts on it, and also just like what books I think you should read. I mean, thus far, we're having a pretty fucking good time. Like, not a good time as in like the books have been uplifting, because literally all of these books have been deeply unsettling, and not in a like good for her sort of way. More of like a wow, this is sad sort of way, but you know, sometimes that's what you need. All right. Hello friends. Happy Thursday. If you're watching this video the day it comes out, I'm filming this clip the day this video comes out. I finished The Whispers last night. This is fucking awesome. This is a 5-star read for me. This is going to be on my best of the year list. I adored this book. It's not that I wasn't expecting to adore it. I mean, I obviously went in expecting to enjoy this book, but I just think Ashley Audrain's writing really gets to me. I think this is a book that was, again, sadly, strangely, deeply relatable, and it definitely gets me to think about motherhood and parenthood in general, and just like those sorts of things. How complicated and confusing that can be. I just thought this was fun. I don't know who I'd recommend this book to. Like, I'm not sure that this is a book that everybody is going to enjoy. In fact, I read a few of the reviews for this book from my friends, and they just didn't really seem to vibe with it the way that I did. I think this is one of those books that I read at the exact right time for me, and I feel like that's kind of how I felt when I read The Push as well by this author. So is it like really the right book at the right time, or is it just the right book for me kind of regardless of time? I don't know. This was so fucking phenomenal. I loved it. It's, again, I don't know that I'd really consider it a true mystery thriller, although you do find out like kind of the events that happened at the end of the book. I liked it in that regard, but yes, this was phenomenal. This is probably my favorite book of the video, in a close second by None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. These books are just like standouts for me, like best mystery thriller for sure, best like contemporary fiction / mystery. Like, these are just so good, and I really have to say Book of the Month does a fantastic job at picking out their books. Like, this is not a sponsored video or like me trying to shill for them, but I can confidently say that I genuinely enjoy their selections, and I wouldn't say that I wouldn't have picked these up on my own otherwise, but like it's just nice to know that I have somewhere to go if I like know that I need a good mystery thriller in my life, because like they hooked it up with these two. I also, again, really enjoyed The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. I thought the ending of this book was really fun and twisty. The whole atmosphere of this book was twisty as well, even if it was a little slower moving. I also enjoyed A Flicker in the Dark. That one I don't know what I'd rate, like between a 3 or a 4 star. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars, right? Like, this is a 4 and 5 star book video, like 2 4 stars, 2 5 stars. We have the 2 books that like just didn't work out for me. She started it. I just feel like this was not the right book for me at the right time. I feel like it was too similar to other books that I read. Honestly, I do see some similarities between this one and this one, but this one had like that extra depth to it of like the moral stuff that it was kind of talking about. Not moral stuff, I don't know, true life stuff, I would say, in this one, and this was just like kind of bitchy and just like meh. I could definitely see this appealing to a certain readership, but it just wasn't for me. I don't know about this one. I might pick this up at a later date, What Lies in the Woods. I think I will probably end up unhauling this one, but I think What Lies in the Woods is a book that I will pick up at a later date. The writing is good, like the writing is nice, but the writing is kind of like verbose in a way that I just wasn't feeling. I just like didn't feel the vibe of this book at that current moment in time. So I had a fantastic time reading all of these thrillers. I hope that this is entertaining in some way. I feel like this wasn't my most exciting video. However, I was very excited about all of these books, and hopefully that like came through for all of you. I think the next thing you're gonna see from me is another weekly reading vlog. So if you're like, bitch, I don't care about this, that's valid. Like, there's lifestyle stuff coming, but I am trying trying to get back into fighting for him and post more book stuff. Next week, I think there's going to be a new trope video, the age gap trope, like reading only age gap books for a week trope video. So be on the lookout for that. Thanks so much for watching this one though, y'all. I love y'all so much, and until next time.